There exists an incredible world, a parallel reality in which modern and classic Porsches mix. And I managed to experience this world. We're starting a completely new series on our channel, where we will go back in time and look at some of the classic Porsches. We'll start with this 1955 Speedster 356 Pre-A model, which is interesting because this was one of the most poorly equipped and lightest and sportiest Porsches. And the story about that is very interesting as well. When Ferry Porsche went to the USA to talk to his guy that was selling them there, and he said, "How do you like the Porsches?" And the guy said, "They're great, beautiful, but when we take them out on the races on Sunday, they're a little heavy and a little bit slow." So Ferry started writing and he said, "All right, we'll make this slimmer. We'll take the glass out of the windows and we'll replace it with plastics, and we'll replace or take out all of the sound insulation. And the car will be 10% more expensive." So the guy said, "Wait a second, if you're taking all of this stuff out, how is it going to be 10% more expensive?" And Ferry said, "You know, at Porsche, we're selling speed and the enjoyment for driving." Specifications: Model 356 Pre-A Speedster, year 1955. Engine: 4-cylinder boxer, 1,571 cubic centimeters. Gearbox: manual, 4-speed. I have to admit I've fallen in love with the shape of this car. It's full of curiosities, like the headlight shields to protect them from flying debris on racetracks. And that profile, it's lovely, with tasteful chrome here and there. Forget about alloy wheels, this has a combination of white color and chrome. Even the rear gave you the idea of speed. It looks aerodynamic and has the distinctive chromed exhaust pipes and a big engine air intake. An interesting fact is that the American who bought this car in '55 swapped the original engine with an upgraded 1300 to produce 55 kilowatts. I was talking about the windows before, which are of course not made out of glass but plastics, so they're lighter. And this is how you put them on. You guide them into these holes and you simply snap the little belt, and that's it. And of course, if it was raining, well, you're out of luck. Now, the other interesting thing are the seats. They are not comfort like they were in the other model. They are sporty, very low to the ground, and also actually quite hard. So when you had the car at the limit, you could feel it. The special equipment of this particular Speedster is the combined blinker and high beam stalk, a horn ring on the steering wheel, and miles per hour speedometer. Now it was time to also drive the car, and because this is a pretty rare vehicle, I thought it better to get acquainted with the controls first. Even though I was nervous driving such history, the car isn't much different from today's vehicles. It has a clutch, throttle, brake pedals, and a manual. Even the instruments are what you'd expect. But when the Speedster puts up its roof, it doesn't only change its looks to a more aggressive stance. I have an admission to make. When I was driving this car before and we were recording it, I did not record it with the roof down in here. So now I have to tell you what it feels like with the roof down and up. Well, first of all, you can still hear the boxer engine a lot, but with the roof up, it's a completely different beast. I don't know if you can see this, but I am sweating like an absolute pig because it's very hot in here. It's also very hot outside, and I have no idea how to turn on any sort of climate control, if there was such a thing before. Obviously no air conditioning, and the windows are very small. It's quite difficult to see outside. I'm looking at other cars, praying that they will not scratch or even crash into the car. But it's good that I don't have any seat belts, because if I do crash, I will not have to be killed by the owner. So this is a completely different beast, and I'd have to tell you, despite the fact that it's an absolute privilege driving an old car like this, and it is a lot of fun to drive, people in 1955 had a lot of courage, and I mean a lot. Maybe I should mention just the feeling of this car, which is something quite special, because I can imagine how they were racing them back in the days in 1955. You have to understand that there's no servo for the steering. There's no I mean, the brakes are extremely hard, and the engine is loud. So you can imagine how this car must have been back then when you were racing it. It was just ridiculous, insane.
Yes, I might have been sweating. I might not have found some gears because I was fearing I'd put it into reverse. I might have changed my pants a couple of times, but I loved every second of driving this beauty.
I've never sweated this much in my life when driving a car.
But the time anomaly did not let me go yet. It threw me back to the car lot, where I already found my next target, Porsche 356 SC.